You've already done it today, more than once, and each time you did, something in the architecture of your attention was quietly rearranged without asking whether you wanted it rearranged. What if the most powerful control system in history never needed anyone to believe in it? There is a principle that separates effective symbolic control from every cruder form of influence that human history has produced. Crude control requires compliance. Sophisticated control requires only exposure. This distinction is not philosophical, it is structural, and it is the operating logic behind the most durable systems of behavioral influence that recorded history documents, from the initiatory orders of ancient mystery schools to the engagement architecture of platforms that currently shape the attention of billions of people who have never heard the word occultism and would reject any connection between their daily habits and the traditions that first engineered these mechanisms. The Western esoteric tradition does not begin with supernatural claims in its most analytically rigorous documents. It begins with a precise observation about human cognition. The mind that does not know it is being shaped is the most shapeable mind available. This is not cynicism. It is the foundational premise of every initiatory system that survived long enough to leave a documented record. The initiation rituals of the Hermetic Order of the Golden Dawn, active in Britain from the 1880s through the early 20th century, were not designed to invoke external forces. They were designed to install new perceptual frameworks in the initiate so gradually and so completely that the initiate experienced the new framework as his own natural way of seeing. The symbol did not ask for belief. It operated below the threshold where belief becomes relevant. But here's what almost no one notices. The efficacy of this mechanism did not depend on the initiate's sincerity, spiritual openness, or willingness to be changed. Initiates who entered the Golden Dawn as skeptics, as social climbers, as intellectuals pursuing curiosity, were restructured by the process at the same rate as true believers. The architecture worked regardless of conscious orientation toward it. That is not a coincidence. That is a design specification. And once you see it as a design specification, rather than a spiritual phenomenon, you begin to notice that same specification appearing in systems that use entirely different vocabulary and claim no connection to any esoteric tradition whatsoever. Applied occult knowledge in modern life does not announce itself. It operates inside the structures you use to navigate reality. The hidden power operating in visible structures is rarely hidden from sight. It is hidden from interpretation. If this kind of investigation speaks to you, subscribe so you don't miss what comes next. How the architecture of ancient initiation became the blueprint for digital engagement. A doctoral researcher at Stanford University named B.J. Fogg submitted a dissertation arguing that computers could be systematically designed to change human attitudes and behaviors. He called this discipline captology, derived from computers as persuasive technology. Within a decade, the principles he formalized in academic language would be implemented at scale by engineers who passed through his lab and then built the platforms that now mediate a substantial portion of human social experience. What Fogg documented was not new. What was new was the precision with which it was measured, named, and taught as engineering. The core mechanism is one that ancient symbolic traditions had identified and deployed for centuries without the benefit of neuroscience or behavioral data. Intermittent variable reinforcement, the delivery of reward on an unpredictable schedule, produces behavioral persistence that consistent reward cannot generate. You do not stop engaging when you cannot predict whether the next engagement will deliver something meaningful. Your nervous system treats the unpredictability itself as a reason to continue. This is exactly where it gets unsettling. B.F. Skinner documented this principle in the 1940s through experiments with pigeons and lever mechanisms. But the principle itself appears in the structural design of mystery religion initiations 2,000 years before Skinner's laboratory existed. The initiate was never given the complete picture. A fragment was revealed, then a recontextualization of that fragment, then a third element that made the first two mean something entirely different. The incompleteness was not a flaw in the system. It was the system. The human mind does not rest in the presence of an incomplete pattern. This is not a weakness. It is the same cognitive architecture that allowed early humans to reconstruct the shape of a predator from a partial shadow. But it is also the opening through which symbolic control enters without resistance, because the mind is already moving toward completion before it has decided whether it wants to. Fogg's students built that opening into every interface decision, every notification timing, every algorithmic feed that surfaces the next piece of content before you have processed what you just consumed. The ancient symbolic systems called this the mystery. Silicon Valley called it engagement optimization. The mechanism answering to both names is identical. Ancient symbols with measurable influence on behavior are not relics. They are the source code from which modern attention engineering was derived, whether the engineers knew it or not. Drop a comment if this connection has ever crossed your mind. You might be further along in seeing this than you think. Why the ritual survived every century by changing only its name. Victor Turner spent years studying what he called liminal rituals across cultures that had never had contact with each other, and he arrived at a conclusion that reframes everything we casually think we know about why rituals exist. A ritual is not a ceremony. It is a transition architecture. Its function is to move a person from one identity state to another in a manner so structured and so total that the person arrives at the new state believing the transition was self-generated. That sentence contains the entire history of influence, from shamanic initiation to political propaganda to the persuasion engineering of the modern attention economy. The most powerful transformation is the one the subject authors. The documented practices of what occult historians classify as operative magical traditions, distinguishing them from philosophical or speculative esotericism, consistently return to the same structural priority. The practitioner does not seek to impose an external result on an unwilling subject. The practitioner seeks to reorganize the subject's perceptual filters until the desired conclusion appears to the subject as obvious, inevitable, and self-derived. Arcane secrets decoded through pattern recognition reveal not supernatural mechanisms, but psychological ones of extraordinary precision. This is where the pattern breaks open. Persuasive technology, as formalized at Stanford and implemented across digital platforms, operates on the same structural priority. The interface does not tell you what to want. It reorganizes the information environment around you until what it wants you to do appears as the path of least resistance, the natural next step, your own uncoerced preference. Ancient magic reframed through modern psychology is not a metaphor. It is a structural analysis. The alchemical tradition's concept of the great work, the systematic transformation of base perception into refined awareness, was not a process performed on matter. It was a process performed on the practitioner's capacity to perceive. The lead being transmuted was not a metal. It was an unexamined assumption. How belief systems shape perception without awareness is the central question that connects the esoteric initiatory traditions to the behavioral architecture of the modern information environment. The answer, in both cases, is the same. You do not install a belief by asserting it. You install it by restructuring the environment until the belief becomes the only available interpretation of experience. Invisible symbolic control over human decisions does not require the subject's ignorance to function. It requires only that the subject has no framework for recognizing what is happening. That framework is precisely what these traditions, at their most rigorous, were designed to provide. If this is shifting something in how you see these structures, the like button tells the algorithm this conversation matters. It keeps this kind of investigation reaching people who are looking for exactly this. Ever wondered what ancient Rome, the Silk Road, and the Library of Alexandria have in common with that smartphone in your hand? It sounds crazy, but the fundamental systems that built empires and connected ancient worlds are buzzing away inside this little device. Stick around, because we're about to unpack how thousands of years of human history are compressed into the technology you use every single day. Let's start with something huge: governance and law. Think about the Roman Empire. They created a vast legal framework, the corpus juris civilis, to manage a sprawling, diverse population. It was a system of rules that dictated rights, responsibilities, and commerce. Now, it's your phone. When you download an app, you agree to its terms of service. That's a legal contract. The App Store or Play Store acts as a digital government, setting rules for developers, ensuring quality control, and even resolving disputes. They have their own laws, their own enforcement, and their own digital citizenship. You are a citizen of a digital empire, and your rights are governed by rules that echo the legal codes of ancient civilizations. It's a system of order, built on code instead of stone tablets, but its purpose is exactly the same: to manage a massive, interconnected society. Next up, let's talk about the economy. Before coins and banks, societies ran on complex systems of barter and trade. Then came the Silk Road, a network that didn't just move goods, it moved ideas, cultures, and wealth across continents. It was the world's first great economic superhighway. Your phone is the modern Silk Road, but on an unimaginable scale. Every time you use a food delivery app, buy something on Amazon, or even send money to a friend through an app like Venmo or PayPal, you're participating in a global digital economy. The marketplaces are no longer in bustling city squares. They're on your screen. The currencies are increasingly digital. Your phone is your personal caravan, your wallet, and your marketplace all in one, connecting you to a global network of buyers and sellers, moving value with a tap instead of a camel train. The underlying principles of supply, demand, and exchange haven't changed. They've just gone digital. Now, consider the power of communication and infrastructure. The Persians built the Royal Road, a highway so efficient that messengers could cross the empire in just 7 days. It was a marvel of communication technology for its time, holding a vast territory together. Your phone operates on a similar, but infinitely more powerful network. The internet, with its fiber optic cables snaking across ocean floors and satellites orbiting the Earth, is our Royal Road. When you send a message, it travels through this incredible infrastructure, bouncing across the globe in milliseconds. Every text, every video call, every post is a testament to a communication network that would have been pure magic to our ancestors. This system doesn't just connect people, it holds our modern global civilization together, enabling everything from international business to personal relationships across continents. We've traded horses and relay stations for data packets and cell towers, but the mission remains the same: conquer distance and connect humanity. And what about knowledge and culture? The Library of Alexandria was the ancient world's greatest hub of knowledge. It was a physical place where scrolls containing the wisdom of scholars, scientists, and poets were painstakingly collected and preserved. It was a beacon of human intellect. Today, your phone gives you access to a library that dwarfs Alexandria. Through search engines like Google, platforms like Wikipedia, and educational content here on YouTube, you hold access to a near-infinite repository of human knowledge. You can learn a new language, study quantum physics, or explore ancient history, all from the palm of your hand. This isn't just about storing information, it's about democratizing it. The ability to learn and share ideas, once reserved for a privileged few, is now available to anyone with the connection. Your phone isn't just a communication tool, it's the modern-day Library of Alexandria, portable university for the entire world. Let's also think about social structure and identity. In the past, your identity was defined by your family, your village, your trade. These were your social circles. Today, we build and curate our identities online. Your social media profile is a carefully constructed version of yourself. The groups you join, the people you follow, the content you share, these all form your digital tribe. We've moved from village squares to digital town halls like Twitter and Facebook, from family gatherings to group chats on WhatsApp. These platforms are the new architects of our social lives, creating communities based on shared interests and beliefs, connecting us with people we might never have met in the physical world. The fundamental human need for belonging and community hasn't changed, but the systems we use to fulfill that need have been completely revolutionized. Finally, think about exploration and navigation. For centuries, humanity looked to the stars to navigate the vast oceans. Seafarers used astrolabes and compasses, relying on celestial bodies to guide them to new lands. It was a system of discovery, pushing the boundaries of the known world. What's on your phone? GPS. With a tap, you can pinpoint your exact location and get directions to anywhere on the planet. This system uses a network of satellites, our new stars, to guide us. We are all explorers now, navigating our cities and the world with the confidence our ancestors could only dream of. Your phone is your personal astrolabe, compass, and map, all rolled into one, turning the entire planet into a navigable space. This technology hasn't just made it easier to get from point A to B, it has fundamentally changed our relationship with the world around us. So, the next time you pick up your phone, remember, you're not just holding a piece of technology, you're holding a microcosm of civilization. You're holding a system of governance, a global marketplace, a high-speed communication network, a universal library, a social architect, and a master navigator. The very same forces that built empires, connected cultures, and expanded human knowledge are now digitized, personalized, and living in your pocket. It's a powerful reminder that while our tools may change, the fundamental human systems that drive us forward remain the same. Thanks so much for watching. If you found this journey through history and technology fascinating, hit that like button and subscribe for more content that connects the past to our present. Let me know in the comments what other ancient systems you see reflected in our modern tech. See you in the next one.